municipal Pennsylvania liquor license. Were you able to hear me before, or should I start over?
Yeah, you might.
Okay. Purpose of this public hearing is to receive public comment on a request from SR Bev LLC for the approval of an intermunicipal Pennsylvania liquor license transfer, number D-3077, from the former Boppin's Brew, 809 East Main Street, Bellwood, PA, for use at 3003 Walnut Avenue, Altoona, Blair County, PA.
As far as the notices, the notice of this hearing was published in the Altoona Mirror on Monday, October 28th, and Monday, November the 4th, 2024, and the property was posted with a notice of this public hearing on Monday, October the 28th.
So at this point, I would present to the Altoona City Council this request for the transfer by the applicant. Does City Council, any members of council have any questions or comments? Very well. Is there any public comment? Are there any other questions or comments from council?
I do want to mention that I appreciate these folks coming back in and reapplying and try to get this process done so we can move forward with another business in our community. Thank you.
Any other comments? Do the applicants or their solicitor have any comments?
Please, Council, Attorney Wagner. My name is Tom Hooper. I'm here on behalf of SR Bev. I would just indicate that I'm here primarily to answer any questions or concerns that might be brought by council. I would note that these folks that are the primary owners and operators of the proposed business have a number of businesses in the Blair County area, which they've operated very well. I would submit that they're good citizens. In particular, they've operated a number of establishments, fee-fis, that operate lottery transactions, which are very much like the PLCB, highly regulated entities. They've proven themselves to be good stewards of that licensure. I submit that they would be good stewards of this. They have submitted and successfully completed all the RAMP training, which is the Responsible Alcohol Management Program mandated by the PLCB. And they have been conditionally approved by the PLCB for this transfer pending this entity's actions on this application today. Beyond that, I don't have much more to say unless there are any specific questions of council. Then I thank you for your time, and I thank you for this council reconsidering their request. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, council. If there is nothing further in terms of comments or questions, I'll turn this back over to Mayor Pacifico.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned. Call this Altoona City Council meeting to order Tuesday, November 12th at 6 p.m. We will now have a moment of silent prayer. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And would you take the roll call, please?
Councilman Beatty.
Here.
Councilman Butterbaugh.
Here.
Councilwoman Klinich.
Here.
Vice Mayor Ellis.
Here.
Councilman Ickes.
Here.
Councilman Kelly. Mayor Pacifico.
Here. We had an executive session after the council meeting last month for personnel. At this time, we'll open up the floor for public comment. If anybody would like to address council, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Please keep your comments to 5 minutes, and if you're here as part of a group, please appoint one spokesperson to speak on behalf of the group. The floor is now open.
Oh, gentlemen, this is getting to be fun. I might like this too much. Mike Cervello, 3021 Spruce Avenue, Altoona, PA. I'm speaking off the cuff here tonight. I really don't want any paperwork involved, you know. I really don't need it. Rebecca Brown. I'm sorry, I was looking at you before. Can I approach you real quick? Mike Cervello, I meet you here. I think I spoke to you last time.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
We're here for public comment. Could you,
No, see, you gotta understand, I want the people watching to understand, they can come to my Facebook page right here. Oh, it's gonna be grand. You guys, I'm going for spinal implant tomorrow. Yeah, it's what happens when you're a real working man. You guys are just little boys with power, and it's hilarious, because you really think that's gonna save your asses this time, and it's not. There's emails. She's watching right now what you did to me. I hope it was real fun. It looks good, doesn't it? They knew it was going on. I have an email to the mayor. Matt, what the hell? How can you watch that video? I told you plain out on that email straight up. This was going on. I got taken by AMED. Yeah, keep watching. This is the social anxiety. I told you guys not to bring me out because you know what I told you? I'm going full force on this. Oh, dear God, help me, because I'll tell you what, he's on my shoulder. I'm coming with the force of God on me. Make no mistake about it, man. You are dark black souls. You are. You really are. You have no empathy. You have no compassion. You have no will to help people. You just want to serve your own self-righteous bullshit. You have yourselves convinced you're doing good when you're doing evil. Bible speaks of you men, black souls, evil, wicked men. Your enemy comes at you with smiles. Take anyone you want. I'm looking at you, Ellis, because I heard you push the hardest on this, and I believe it was Nate Kissel. I can't remember if it was you, Nate, but somebody came on here and said something about we weighed the pros and cons. How did you weigh the pros and cons when nobody even talked to a freaking resident on that road? It's just, I see what you guys are doing. June 5th, I told I wanted somebody charged. June 12th, you pulled the ordinance. A blind man could see what you did. Guess what? You can ignore it all you want. The problem's still there. And unfortunately for you, I'm going to make this perfectly clear. I am now defending my constitutional right to peace and tranquility. And that Second Amendment you guys love so much, that's there to defend that. Don't send your cops after 3 years. Don't call for help. Somebody pisses me off. This is my life I'm fighting for now. This is survival. All your common sense stuff kind of goes out the window on that. They hurt me, I'm going to hurt them back. And yeah, that's what I said. This here, Mr. Truth Direct, I will trump it up here right now because they're going to see the emails and they're going to, and I guess I can't wait. Oh, by the way, I'm going to let you go now, but I'm running for vice mayor. Dave Butterbaugh, I'm not a dumb truck driver. I graduated with college prep courses. I'm not a dummy. You're a good soul. You're the only good soul I really see up there. The other one should be ashamed. So that's it.
Hey, seriously, hey.
That's okay. No, I'm dead.
Michael,
Yes.
Michael.
No, did you see the video, Dave? Did you see the PTSD attack? Did you go online and actually look at what they did to me? This happened a week before that happened. The email was to the mayor. saying you got to do something about this. I was taking AMED to the damn hospital. I didn't stop shaking and twitching for almost 45 minutes. They knocked me out to get me to stop shaking. You know what it's like to be shaken? When you know what stenosis is? I got it in 5 places in my back. That's 5 places it's pressing on my freaking spinal cord. So when that pain hits, and you watch that video, there's 3 tears in my right rotator cuff. Do you have any idea the amount of pain? Yes, I would choke the living out of somebody if they would have been standing right in front of me there. And not a damn person would have blamed me. This is your handiwork. I hope you're fucking happy. You know what? God bless you, Dave. I'm not kidding. You know why I'm running for vice mayor? So I can kick your sorry ass out. You got to be law enforcement with the bullshit you got away with. Later, guys. Have a great night. Oh, hey, yeah, I'll take my phone. Don't worry, guys. This will all be on video tomorrow. And with the proof. That's what it's like. So, hey, have a good night. Peace, everybody.
Who wants to follow that?
Okay. Anybody else? Is there no other public comment? Okay, we'll close the floor and move on to the resolutions.
Item A is approving the minutes of the Altoona City Council meeting held Tuesday, October 15th, 2024. Item B is approving the request of SR Bev LLC for the intermunicipal transfer of Pennsylvania liquor license D3077 from the former Boppin's Brew in Bellwood for use within the city of Altoona at 3003 Walnut Avenue, Altoona. Item C is authorizing the submission of a local share assessment grant application in the amount of $296,800 for the abandonment of 10th Avenue pedestrian underpasses, and further authorizing the interim city manager to execute the documents and the city clerk to attest to same. Item D is awarding the South 12th Street Stormwater Improvements Project to Straw Construction of Boswell in the amount of $336,200.03 payable from ARPA funds, and further authorizing the interim city manager to execute all documents and the city clerk to attest to same. Item E is awarding the base bid and additional alternate bid 1 bus stop pull-off of the Broad Avenue Streetscape Union Avenue to 24th Street project to Amaron Construction of 2501 North Atherton Street, State College, in the amount of $604,984.10 payable from ARPA funds, and further authorizing the interim city manager to execute all documents and the city clerk to attest to same. Item F is awarding the 7th and Union Avenues and 25th Street traffic signal, sidewalk, and fiber optic upgrade project to Amaron Construction of State College in the amount of $881,014.90, with $695,787.30 payable from the Green Lake Go Grant and $185,227.60 payable from ARPA funds, and further authorizing the interim city manager to execute all documents and the city clerk to attest to same. Item G is awarding repainting light poles at Vetsfield to Clark Contractors of Bedford in the amount of $60,028.41 payable from ARPA funds, and further authorizing the interim city manager to execute all documents and the city clerk to attest to same. Item H is authorizing an easement agreement between the city and Rodney Leitner for the purpose of installation and maintenance of traffic signal facilities, ADA ramps, and sidewalks at 2501 7th Avenue, as shown on the easement plan, and further authorizing the interim city manager to execute all documents and the city clerk to attest to same. Item I is authorizing an easement agreement between the city and Jason Mapes for the purpose of installation and maintenance of stormwater facilities at 2929 Broad Avenue, as shown on the easement plan, and further authorizing the interim city manager to execute all documents and the city clerk to attest to same. Item J is authorizing the submission of a local share assessment grant application in the amount of $1 million for the construction of a public safety training center, and further authorizing the interim city manager to execute all documents and the city clerk to attest to same. Item K is approving the City of Altoona's 2024 Emergency Operations Plan and the Continuity of Operations Plan, which supersedes all previous plans, and further authorizing the interim city manager and emergency management coordinator to execute all documents and the city clerk to attest to same. Item L is approving repository bids submitted by Kinsey Shepherd of Baldwin, New York, for each property listed in the amount of $250 and located at 2609 Maple Avenue, 2024 Fifth Avenue, 1814 11th Avenue, 1216 17th Avenue, and 324 Spruce Avenue, and further authorizing the interim city manager to execute the taxing district forms. Item M is approving repository bids submitted by Shamika Smith of Columbus, Georgia. Each property is listed in the amount of $450 and located at 324 Spruce Avenue, 719 North Fifth Avenue, and in the amount of $325 for property located at 1432 3rd Street, and in the amount of $350 for property located at 10,009 18th Avenue, in the amount of $375 for property located at 1216 17th Avenue, and further authorizing the interim city manager to execute the taxing district forms. Item N is approving repository bids submitted by Johans do Nascimento Cardoso of Mount Rainier, Maryland. Each property listed in the amount of $50 and located at 2015 13th Avenue, 3127 to 33 7th Avenue, and further authorizing the interim city manager to execute the taxing district forms. Is there anything that needs to be pulled for separate vote?
Yeah, BLMN.
I'm going to call for the consent vote that is going to exclude items B, M, B, L, M, and N. This is the consent vote. Councilman Beatty,
Yes.
Councilman Butterbaugh,
Yes.
Councilwoman Klinich,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Ellis,
Yes.
Councilman Ickes,
Yes.
Councilman Kelly,
Yes.
and Mayor Pacifico.
Yes.
And the consent vote passes 7-0. And then we have a vote, call for the roll for a vote on item B, which is approving the request of SR Bev LLC for the intermunicipal transfer of Pennsylvania liquor license D 3077 from the former Boppin's Brew of Bellwood for use within the city at 3003 Walnut Avenue. Councilman Beatty,
Yes.
Councilman Butterbaugh,
No.
Councilwoman Klinich,
Yes.
Councilman Ellis,
Yes.
Councilman Ickes,
Yes.
Councilman Kelly,
Yes.
Mayor Pacifico,
Yes.
and the vote passes 6-1. And we have item L, which is approving repository bids submitted by Kinsey Shepherd of Baldwin, New York. Each property listed in the amount of $250 and located at 2609 Maple Avenue, 2024 Fifth Avenue, 1814 11th Avenue, 1216 17th Avenue, and 324 Spruce Avenue, and further authorizing the interim city manager to execute the taxing district forms. I'll call the roll for a vote. Councilman Beatty,
No.
Councilman Butterbaugh,
No.
Councilwoman Klinich,
No.
Vice Mayor Ellis,
No.
Councilman Ickes,
No.
Councilman Kelly,
No.
and Mayor Pacifico.
No.
The vote does not pass. And then we have item M, which is approving the repository bid submitted by Shamika Smith of Columbus, Georgia, with each property listed in the amount of $450 and located at 324 Spruce Avenue and 719 North Fifth Avenue, in the amount of $325 for property located at 1432 3rd Street, in the amount of $350 for property located at 10,009 18th Avenue, and in the amount of $375 for property located at 1216 17th Avenue, and further authorizing the interim city manager to execute the taxing district form. I'll call the roll for a vote. Councilman Beatty,
No.
Councilman Butterbaugh,
No.
Councilwoman Klinich,
No.
Vice Mayor Ellis,
No.
Councilman Ickes,
No.
Councilman Kelly,
No.
Mayor Pacifico,
No.
and the vote does not pass. We also have item N, which is approving repository bids submitted by Johans do Nascimento Cardoso of Mount Rainier, Maryland, with each property listed in the amount of $50 and located at 2015 13th Avenue and 3127 to 33 7th Avenue, and further authorizing the interim city manager to execute the taxing district form. I'll call the roll for a vote. Councilman Beatty,
No.
Councilman Butterbaugh,
No.
Councilwoman Klinich,
No.
Vice Mayor Ellis,
No.
Councilman Ickes,
No.
Councilman Kelly,
No.
Mayor Pacifico,
No.
and the vote does not pass. We have ordinances on the agenda for introduction. The first ordinance is an ordinance of the City of Altoona in the County of Blair, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, appropriating specific sums estimated to be required for the specific purposes of the municipal government, hereinafter set forth during the year 2025, and better known as the 2025 budget ordinance. Is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
This ordinance was, I'm sorry, I meant introduction. This ordinance was moved for introduction by Mayor Pacifico. There's a second ordinance, which is an ordinance amending the code of the City of Altoona, Chapter 646, entitled Taxation, by amending Article 8 thereof entitled Earned Income and Net Profits Tax to levy a tax on earned income and net profits of residents of the city at the following rates for 2025. 1% for general revenue purposes by authority of the Local Tax Enabling Act, 0.3% for general revenue purposes by authority of the Home Rule Charter and Optional Plans Law, and 0.4% to defray costs related to pension plans of the city by authority of the Municipal Pension Plan Funding Standard and Recovery Act, which is Act 205. In addition, said ordinance will levy a tax on earned income and net profits of certain non-residents who work in the city at the following rates: 1% for general revenue purposes by authority of the Local Tax Enabling Act, Act 511, and 0.4% to defray costs related to pension plans of the City of Altoona by authority of the Municipal Pension Plan Funding Standard and Recovery Act. Said ordinance will continue to require tax returns, require employers to withhold and remit tax, contains definitions, references applicable statutes, designates a tax collectors, establishes interest, penalties, costs, and fines, provides for severability, a purpose, and establishes an effective date. Is there a council member willing to introduce this ordinance?
So moved.
This ordinance was introduced by Vice Mayor Ellis. We have the third ordinance for introduction, which is an ordinance of the City of Altoona, County of Blair, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, amending Chapter 646 entitled Taxation, and in particular 646-96, millage established ongoing tax, establishing the tax rate for the real estate subject to taxation located in the City of Altoona, Pennsylvania at a rate of 7.1219 mils for the year 2025, and continuing thereafter without reenactment until said rate is changed by City Council. The ordinance also provides for a reaffirmation of the remainder of Chapter 646, repeal of all ordinances or parts of laws in conflict therewith, severability of provisions, and an effective date. This is known as the Tax Millage Ordinance of 2025. Is there a council member willing to introduce this ordinance? This ordinance is introduced by Councilman Ickes.
Okay, city manager updates. Nate?
Thank you, Mayor. A few things to report on. We had our Spirit of Christmas Parade pre-meeting, I guess, today. That'll be on December 7th, 1 p.m. We also have our light up night, the night before that, which would be December 6th at 5 to 7. I believe there's fireworks afterwards, right? Linda, for that. With the introduction of the budget, I just wanted to thank staff members for all their help putting it together. It was a lot of work. In many cases, it was the first time through the entire process for many of us, although our finance director, Jim Garrett's put many together in his past. This would be the first one that he's put together for the city of Altoona. So, but in addition to that, we had our capital budget that we've been working on, liquid fuels budget that we've been working on. So there's a few things that we have, and it's really kept us busy at that. So I think that's about it.
Thank you. Council updates. Councilman Kelly.
Nothing tonight.
Councilman Ickes.
I have nothing this evening. Thank you.
Councilman Butterball.
Nothing.
Councilman Ellis.
Nothing, Mayor.
Councilman Beatty.
Nothing.
Councilwoman Clenish.
Nothing.
All right. Questions from the media. Bill?
Thank you. Would anybody care to comment on Mike Cervello's statements? Okay. Would anybody care to talk about the tax increases why they're necessary, I guess.
Bill, what I would say is over the last year and a half, or maybe even longer, the city's engaged CZB to complete the comprehensive plan. The economy today requires a basic certain level of services to be done for communities to be an attractive place for families to call their residence home. And our employees do an outstanding job. Frankly, in my opinion, being provided with the bare bones resources that we've been provided for a period of time. We have a significant allocation, included in the budget. Obviously, personnel related, we have dollars allocated in the budget, proposed budget that will allow us to put dollars away for capital improvements, and which will obviously perhaps around $1 million or more that will allow us to get the jump start with the comprehensive plan heading into and through 2025.
Anyone else like to talk about that?
Yeah, I would just echo what Jesse said there. We're following along with the comp plan that, that the community played a very large role in creating. So, this is us following along with the wishes of the community.
Anybody else?
Bill, I think a significant amount of this money is to invest in the future of our city, and I think that needs to be said. It is a tax increase that people aren't accustomed to here maybe in our city, but the money is going to be invested wisely to improve the neighborhoods, curbs, sidewalks, streets, recreation, things that, as the mayor pointed out, were in the comprehensive plan, and that was created again by the community, not by city council.
My goal is not to belabor this bill, but there's one in particular graph that CZB provided information and data to us that shows on a per capita basis from a real estate tax standpoint, we were the 14th out of the 15th largest municipalities in Pennsylvania. So out of the top 15, we were the 14th as far as who's taxing the highest per capita when it comes to property tax collection overall. My peer, Dave Butterbaugh, not to drag him into this, but I'm going to, has kind of coined the phrase of that data point being the race to average, frankly. We were substantially lower than many of our peers, and engaging the folks in the public, Councilman Ellis, if I may, we heard resounding, that from residents that they are willing to support streets, sidewalks, and improvements being done to our community that they can see and that will enhance property values in our community long-term. And our comprehensive plan not only outlines a plan for that to be done, but it gives us, frankly, the blueprint for us to implement it, and we need to implement it.
When you say race to average, you mean making these improvements is an attempt to get to the average as opposed to way down low.
Yeah, if we're going to stop the brain drain of people raising children and then they flee from here for other opportunity, we have to build communities where people want to live and call Altoona home.
Bill, there's one other aspect to this too. Altoona in the past has made bond issues to borrow money. And what we would like to do is get to the point where we cash flow, so we're not paying interest and paying for bond issues. And we'd like to get to the point where we're doing a pay-as-you-go type process as opposed to borrowing money. In the past, we borrowed money to buy police cars and fire trucks and maintain our properties. I think the big thing that we're looking at now is we've brought a lot of the city facilities up to really good condition. But then looking forward over the next 20 years, we want to start depreciating them on the books to show that we are getting money ahead so that when they need it again, we have the money to do it instead of relying on bond issues and paying interests.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Would anybody care to explain why the votes changed on the LCB request for InBev?
I didn't change my vote.
I changed my vote, and I will tell you why, Bill. I talked to the people who applied and understand the improvements they're going to make, and they gave me clarity, so I had correct information to vote on.
Anyone else?
I just think as a general rule, Bill, that, years ago, the LCB changed that you were allowed to transfer licenses within a county from municipality to municipality. You weren't able to do that in the years past. But we saw a lot of out-migration of licenses from the city of Altoona to other municipalities. Now you've seen several coming back in. Liquor enforcement is really strict. They really police that. It's very well regulated. And, from my standpoint, we're helping small businesses. And so that's why I supported all of these license transfers. And I mean, these are small business people, and we want to help them. And again, it's very, very tightly regulated by the LCB, so.
Anyone else? Including Dave, if you want to say why you stuck to your guns, I guess.
The PLCB didn't do our neighborhood any favors with previous licenses, so I don't know if that's going to change or not, but hey, maybe I'll be proven wrong.
Okay. The underpass money, I'm not sure. Nate, maybe you can answer. Is that? Oh,
So there's the two underpasses on 10th Avenue that we put manholes in now. So we still have to inspect them every 2 years, and they basically don't serve a purpose other than just being underground pits. So the goal there is to apply for that grant and to fill it in with flowable fill, basically concrete, and just to establish a pipe through it for future utilities to use. And then it eliminates the need for inspection and maintenance on those facilities.
yeah, I thought it may be reimbursement for money you already spent, but it's not really.
It's a grant, it's local share agreement grant.
Could the 12th Street Stormwater Project, Rob?
Yes.
Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so that's the area of 12th Street from Valley View down to Brush Run. You probably remember the issues that we've had there with.
Is that water to come down from the mountain?
Yeah, so the pipe is incorrectly sized. It basically goes from bigger pipe to smaller pipe. So we're going to right size the pipe. It's going to be 36-inch pipe in that section. Add extra stormwater inlets, add some extra curbing, and some regrading of the pavement, basically to hopefully correct the the localized flooding issues. It's not going to have any effect on the flooding from Brush Run itself, but the localized flooding on 12th Street. Hopefully we can remedy that.
Okay, thank you. Now, I guess, Joe, I don't know, the Public Safety Training Center? Well, tell me about it. Like, where is it going to go?
I think we have some general ideas where we'd like to have it, but it's still yet to determine where we're going to put it for sure.
Is it definitely going to happen one way or the other?
I think the biggest factor is whether we get this grant money or not. If we get this grant money, I think there's a good possibility of it happening.
Bill, the hope would be that it comes to fruition someday, but like the chief said, a lot of it rides on the grant.
Yeah, we definitely want this to happen. We would definitely like a training facility local for our first responders.
And does that mean just the the police and firefighters in the city, or other people in the area?
That's also yet to be kind of decided at this point.
If you don't get the money, is it unlikely to happen? Okay.
It's not a very cheap endeavor to try to go along with. I think the grant money could really help us in the process of trying to establish the training center.
Would that pay for the whole thing?
Pretty much, from what me and Joe looked at previously, it was pretty much covered in the
And what would it consist of?
basically, it would incorporate police training and fire training, so it'd be like a training tower for like, search and rescue, fire training, road rescue, maybe some trench rescue stuff on the police side. Joe would have to run that, but we would incorporate.
The goal would be to make the building adaptable for the police too, that can practice various techniques from building searching to, active shooter training, to crisis intervention training and everything like that. A lot of other counties have dual training facilities that basically you can use them for both purposes.
And the benefit of having this would be not having to go elsewhere for such training? Or?
Yeah, that too, and I think a lot of times, our guys right now, we're using like houses that are slated to be demoed, and there's a reason those houses are slated to be demoed, and, sanitary condition in those houses may not be the best. I think this will establish a nice place for our both departments to train and in a clean, safe environment.
Do your guys also do that in houses going to be demolished?
Yeah, we use everything from houses being demolished to churches that let us go into the space, to schools. The problem is when they're, like schools and churches, obviously we're limited in what we could do because we don't want to damage property or anything of that nature. And same thing with Adam, the abandoned houses only work out. Sometimes they're not available. Sometimes they're too dangerous to do a lot of things. So again, a lot of other counties have these type of training facilities that the city can use for other things too, but primarily, obviously, they're used for fire and police. And if, the grant money lines up, then we'd be able to do the same.
Would the site of this be in the city itself?
Yeah, the hope would be in the city. Obviously, our guys are on duty when we do the training, so we have to keep our guys in the city. So right now, the hope is that we establish it within the city.
Bill, it would also help with the fire department's ISO rating, and it would help out with the police if they eventually decide to go for accreditations.
What does that mean? Accreditation for
No,
the police?
sorry.
Bill, I will gladly address that with you offline. It's a little complicated to get into, but I would.
Okay. All right.
It just provides more efficiency and more flexibility, and we would really like to get this grant and make this happen. I know this is something that I've been wanting to see since I got here. And so I would really greatly like to see this come to fruition.
What are the odds of getting the grant?
I hope 100%.
Local share account's a very highly competitive grant because there's no match. There's no match there. So, I mean, we were successful a couple of years ago with an LSA grant for, I think it was for a new fire engine, right? Yeah. So we have hit on this grant before. So we'll see how we can do this time around.
That's all I got. Thanks.
You sure? Meeting adjourned.